So as we connect to breath, let's explore how breath interfaces with or enters these various areas of our body. So we're just getting a sense of breath in the body. And we can use just some arbitrary divisions just to give ourselves a way to compare and notice and sense. For example, we can feel breath in the front side of the body and the back side of the body. Is there a difference? Can you feel one half more readily than another half? Is there resistance in a particular half? And how about if we sense the body left side, right side? And let's remember, it's breath is the instrument of sensing. So we need to consciously breathe and stay rather connected, or in a sense focused on our breath. How it moves, how it enters, how it retreats. And of course, all of this can be done with eyes closed. Just checking the left half of the pelvis, the right half of the pelvis. Sensing the left shoulder, the right shoulder. And the clearer that we get in this initiatory, phase of our practice, will guide our practice with greater fidelity. So we don't want to space out on this. This isn't just like, yeah, she said shoulder or she said hip, cool, hip, shoulder. It's like we really want to get an in-body view, an in-body feeling of where am I right now? There you go. And then let's do one more. The top half of the body, the lower half of the body. You may feel your breath tend to gravitate into one area or constellate in another. So just noticing tendencies, patterns, landmarks, ease, resistance. As we soften the belly, find out if the breath can descend and inhabit that lower half just a bit more fully. Even letting the bottom portion of our jaw relax toward the pelvis. Our breath work. We shift our positions, placing soles of feet together in Baddha Konasana. And we'll work rounds of Kapalabhati, short, sharp exhales. We'll just do about 30 pumps. So we'll begin. And the belly acts very strongly as we keep relaxing at the hip crease, allowing that thigh bone to soften toward the ground. And after about 30 or so pumps, just lightly bear the breath down. Allow the jaw to relax down toward the ground, allowing the breath to descend and spread into the pelvis, the hip bones, the genitals. And slowly growing the low back up. I'm not lifting my thigh bones, I'm just lengthening the spine. So maybe a little interplay between how the hip lifts or moves the leg, relaxes the leg, and how the spine grows taller or shrinks down. You'll start to notice that relationship. So if it's possible, we'll just shift the sit bones forward an inch or two. If you're feeling wily today, 3 inches. Right hand on the ground. Left hand on the thigh. Make sure it's the thigh. So that's kind of close to the knee. Pull that left palm back a little bit, closer to your hip crease. There you go. This goes a little meatier down by the hip than by the knee. Okay. And just we'll practice as we inhale, letting the jaw relax toward the hip socket. And just finding out if that helps escort our breath into our left side pelvis. Now, exhaling, the pressure of left hand on thigh is very light. I'm going to imitate lifting through the low back, like I'm sitting taller even though I'm leaning to my right. So I'm really not pressing much at all, in the order of ounces, probably not even a pound or two of pressure. Just letting breath interplay between low back and hip crease. I'm really using my hands to support a kind of a sitting taller, even though I'm leaning. I'm still trying to, how would I sit taller? What are those really deep supportive places? Deep spine, back of sacrum, deep pelvis. Now a little switch of the hands. I'm going to softly remove that left hand from thigh. Now let's reset the right hand. Ensure it's to the right of the hip, not behind you, but directly to the side as we move into side bend. So now the rubber meets the road. Inhaling the left arm up. And as I'm exhaling, I'm going to continue to just sense lengthening through my core, my trunk, softening that left leg toward the earth. And inhaling, take that left arm up and over, and let's press our way out of that. We'll do another side. So we've got the left hand on the ground and the right palm just barely kind of weighing, trying to give you a sense of what kind of pressure I'm using. Like just enough pressure to, as if I was pushing a paperback book across a table, like really not a lot. Okay? And so with that little bit of pressure, I'm just intimating a relaxed hip area. And so now as I connect to breath, I'm going to get a feel for lengthening the low back away from the sit bone. Like I'm sitting taller. Now this may not replicate how we sit when we're attempting to sit in a tall way, unsupported, but at least we give ourselves this little glimpse of how do I breathe in a supportive way as I start to maybe dissolve these little resistances, these stiffnesses. I've found that often stiffness can be behaving as a kind of temporary or artificial support system. And yoga just has this really nice way of letting us feel how to support ourselves carefully over again with some of those bandages, those stiffnesses, just slightly moved out of the way for a moment. I'm really not pushing on ligaments. I'm teaching myself how to breathe in a slightly more open and supported state. Think about that. All right, so we're gonna lighten up, replace the left hand directly to the side, and now without that support, let's try this out in side bend. Inhale the right arm up, and exhaling, I'm sitting as tall, right, as possible, lifting the low back away from the sit bone. Letting that right hip crease soften and relax. And inhale, let's bring that right arm up and over. Let's use the hands, help legs, or knees rather, together. Pardon me. And let's set up for dolphin. So come on to elbows and knees. Soften through neck muscles. Push. Chest muscles turn on. You feel the rib cage lifting up toward the sky. A lot of armpit area engagement to do that. You got your toes curled under. And when you're ready, we'll exhale the knees off the ground. beautiful thing about the breath, especially from a structural perspective, a reflexive, a responsivity perspective, is the breath will start to inform us where we're truly responding in the moment and where those stiffnesses or those resistances are maybe providing us support. So let the breath take us into these places. Let the breath help us learn, where are they? Do I have these? Do I notice these things? Is this an experience I'm having at all, or is this maybe just something else? Right? There you go. There it is. But let the breath lead. Let the breath be foregrounded in this pose. And feel the bones around the back of the heart moving. Can you feel the ribs under the shoulder blades moving? There you go, Tara. That's it. That's it. That's really cool. Yeah, nice press. Nice lifting out there, Joy. It's really cool. Good. And we'll usually get that wonderful press, and it looks like such glorious kind of space being found in the body. But can we hold that? Can we maintain that and bring just 1, 2, 3 more breaths into that moment of buoyancy? Yes, that's a really great breath in the back, Joy. That's really sweet. Try this out, mid-back, Tara, mid-back. Just feeling if breath can find those sides of ribs, mid-back, the back of the diaphragm. There you go, that's it. It's a little of a, there it is. 1 deep breath more. And we'll set our knees down softly. All right. Let's lie on back. And we'll just do 2, well, all right, we'll do a couple items, subject to change. Grab that roll, have it nearby. Do a little move first. This seems to work really well with a lot of my runners and a lot of athletes who employ a lot of like leg power. Let me turn so you can see this rotation. And if it doesn't make sense, I'll make sure I can see you. And okay, so I'm putting my left leg up in the air. And with our hands, we're going to grab the top of our shin and calf, and we're going to turn it a little bit. And then once we have that turn, that rotation, we're going to contract and work some muscular movements. So as I'm looking at my left leg, my shin bone, if it's pointing, let's say at 12 o'clock, I'm going to turn my shin bone toward 1 o'clock. I hope that makes sense, but let me show you. I'll exaggerate it so you can see my hands. I'm taking my calf, both my hands, grabbing my shin and my calf, and I'm rotating my shin bone. Okay? Now the direction I'm turning is from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Now let me look at you in case you need, does that make sense? Good. So we'll go left leg, so we're all on the same page. I'm grabbing up at the top of my shin. Make sure it's the shin, not the knee. Okay. And I'm going to rotate the shin bone inwardly. Now hold that. Inhale into your low back. And as you exhale, contract your quad. So straighten your knee. You can push through the ball of the foot. And just release as you take your next inhalation. You can just re-grab, find that bone. I have my thumbprints in that shin bone area. And then exhaling, I contract my quad. Like I'm really straightening that knee, pushing through the ball of the foot. And just releasing as I inhale. And one more. Rotating the shin, exhaling, contracting the quad, and letting it go. All right. And then just kind of move your ankle around, because sometimes some things shift or crack or behave interestingly. Right. Now, we'll go right leg up. And when I grab at the top of my shin bone, not my knee, my shin bone, I'll be rotating from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Okay, so I'm just turning the shin bone in relationship to my thigh bone. Inhale. I'm going to turn the meat of my calf, the bone, and then exhale, contract the quad or straighten the knee rather strongly, pressing up through the ball of the right foot. And then as I inhale, I can kind of release a little bit, re-grab. As exhale comes on, rotating. So it's just the bottom, the shin part of my leg I'm rotating. Contract the quad, push up through the foot. You can wiggle that ankle around. That's kind of cool. Let's do one more. And turning the shin bone, nothing should feel funky in the knee. Exhale, contract the quad, the knee straight, the muscles above the knee. And release. Okay. Now that may have felt like not too much happened, or it may have felt like you got some popcorn crackles going through the ankle or such. Now let's do our abdominals. Let's find out if our access into our back has shifted. Inhale, we'll float the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. And pausing here, curl tailbone. Exhale, reach out through the left leg. Contracting the quad, pressing that leg out, and I'll pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Gotta bearing that breath into the low back, curl tailbone. Exhale, right leg out reaches. And I'm contracting. There's a good chance you may feel these muscles more fully contract. There's a good chance you've gained some sensitivity. Pull low belly down around the knee and the leg. Okay. Let's keep going. Inhale, bend right knee. We'll just do 4 more per side. And curl tailbone, exhale, reach out through the left leg, straighten by engaging all those muscles above the knee. Press it away, pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg reaches. Engage the quads, the muscles above the right knee. Press it out, reach it out, pull low belly down. Good, let's do the last 3 on each side on your own. And if this just ends up being a nice kind of, you got a lot of stuff moving around the knee or the ankle, great. Stuff does not have to be everyday torture. I really hope it's not. Going for discovery much more than annoyance. There you go. All right. Yeah. The analogy I sometimes use with joints, because they handle so much perceptual information, is kind of like cell phone towers, right? Communication towers. Right? Our joints are kind of like these communication towers, these nodes where the information of pressure, of electricity, of this piezoelectric kind of chemistry, there's fluid information, there's hydraulic information, there's rotational information, spatial information. All of this kind of information tends to aggregate and move through the joints. And when those cell phone towers or satellites are just a little bit askew, it's almost like the signal can get a bit fuzzy, right? So some of these rotational moves are really just about finding those bone relationships, those joint relationships, in the hopes that there's more clarity. So let's find that roll, place it between the legs. Now we know pressure is a kind of information that gets kind of transmitted through the joints. And we know with the roll, we're creating a lot of pressure information. Okay. And after having just done a little bit of this shin rotation, this knee type work, we'll be adding some foot and some ankle moves as we do this, this abdominal abs with a mat. Here we go. Inhale into the low back. At the very top of your inhale, hold the breath, squeeze the inner thighs into the roll. Now hold the squeeze, curl tailbone. And as you exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up, press up through the ball mounts of the feet, and then drive the heels up, the toes down, and just note the ankle differences, the pressure difference. Pull low belly down. And then inhale, we'll set the head down, relaxing the squeeze. Hold that breath, squeeze, get some pressure. Curling tailbone, exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up. Now contract those quads, those muscles above the knees. Keep them contracted and just feel if you can turn your ankles in one circle, your feet, just making an ankle circle. Pull low belly down. Inhale, set the head down. Kind of luxuriate in this inhale. This is our rest moment. Apply the squeeze. Engage those quadriceps as best as you can. Exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up. Keep those quads contracted and move the feet and the ankles in one circle. Pull low belly down. Inhale, set the head down. Now this can take a little bit of focus. Let's do the last three on our own. So you'll inhale into the back and then apply the squeeze. Apply the squeeze into the roll and through the quads, straightening the knees. If you had a former life in gymnastics, this may come a little easier. You have so many foot positions to work with in dancing and gymnastics. So getting those almost scooping circular foot motions is kind of a fun, weird thing turning with those knees, those thigh muscles. There you go. And getting that VMO, that quad to contract. Keep that quad contracted. Keep the quad contracted as you point. That's a sometimes where there it is. And that kind of funny how one of those quads and legs kind of gets a little power shortage. I gotcha. Yes, that left one that's what I saw. But it's the noticing that matters, right? This is good. So there's the contract, good. And then you're going through that flex all the way through point, but keeping that quad contracted all the way through that point. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yes. But it does, it starts to inform us like, oh, my calf area might feel a little fuzzy with buildup. Calves can hold a tremendous amount of pressure in stasis. So, all right, great, we'll rest that. We'll call that done, all those. Now, let's turn back onto our elbows. We'll be working flash prep with one leg up. So as a reminder, I'll start with my right forearm down and my left palm on the floor. Note my left elbow is up. Push through both hands. Engage both sets of chest muscles. And on your next exhale, press the knees off the ground. Okay. Now this left hand that's stuck to the ground, I pull left elbow straight back. Okay. And we'll raise the right foot off the ground today. If that feels too unsteady, just keep the foot down. Now, after that knee work, that knee and that ankle work, here's the thing. Sometimes we get those joints relating differently in the ankle, the foot, the knee, and suddenly our hip can feel different. So just because we're experiencing a little bit of stuckness or maybe resistance or interest in the hip, maybe we can actually catch it perceptually downstream before the information even gets to the hip. Maybe that's an approach that we can take. There you go, nice. Nice. Let's set the right foot down. We'll place the knees down, and we'll switch sides. So now our left forearm is down, our right palm is down. We can relax our head and neck down. And on your exhale, we'll press the knees up. Pull the right elbow toward the right shin, so I'm getting that wrap of shoulder, and then left leg reaches back. Sometimes with your newfound ability to contract the quads or straighten the knees, you find that back of leg just melts right open. Sometimes that's one of those cool, weird side effects that we get. Good, push with that right hand, Joy. Push straight down into the earth. There you go. Nice. Let's set that left foot down. Gently set the knees down, and we rest. Cool. When we stand, you may want a wall. We'll be working standing splits. Actually, let's give it a precursor. We'll start with tree and we'll move to standing splits. Place your right foot on the inner left thigh. Okay? Now, if I can't go to thigh, I can put it on the calf. I can use my hands to keep my foot in place, or I can take my hands away from the foot. We're using this tree today as just an inner leg reminder. So now, push, engaging that inner thigh into the foot. When you have it really turned on, I'm going to use the wall to steady myself, because I want to be able to breathe into my back while my inner leg is involved. So all that stuff we were doing with the knee, contracting the quad and pressing all the way through, now I'm applying my breath, lifting the low back up away from the pelvis, keeping those leg muscles on. Good. Now let's point that right knee forward, and now let's pick the foot up with both hands. Straightening right leg. All right. And we'll release. Do the other side. Tree, left foot into right thigh. I'm not just pushing my thigh to the right, I'm pushing my right thigh into my foot. Now, again, I'm going to use just a little bit of wall because I want the steadiness. And I want that focus into my breath rather than my reflex work. But, should be said, breath work is reflex work. Right? Breath work is the art and the science of letting responsivity moment to moment come online and take precedence. So we're always working off of fresh, in the moment information than just historical information, right? That's kind of the beauty of taking our cues from breath and responsivity, and how is this going moment to moment? How do I experience my breath right now in my low back? Okay, I'm going to point the left knee forward and pick that left foot up with both hands, standing splits. And just like I was doing seated, how lengthy can I get low back? How can I lift the low back away from the pelvis? There you go. And if you want, Tara, you can engage that left quad. Ooh, yeah, from previous episodes. There you go. And we'll release. Set that down, please. We'll stand at the top of our mat. Chair pose. Inhale or draw arms up, overhead, bending knees. Shifting tailbone slightly down. Exhaling, fold forward. Softening the neck. Drawing that low belly back toward the spine. Inhale, monkey. You can use your hands to pull the chest forward, or your hands on your shins, you can push the chest forward. Set the hands down, exhaling, step or lightly jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. I'm going to select cobra just for the meanwhile. Now I'm pointing or pressing back to those big toes and those inner legs. Let's feel if this makes any appreciable difference in my low back. Sometimes I just mess around with all those pressure systems in my legs, and my back ends up feeling very different. Inhale, hands under chest. Exhaling, downward dog. Now, without hyperextending the elbows, contract and fully straighten the elbows. Here's one of these other great side effects when we straighten our joints fully, assuming that we have that ability or potential. It can often clear a lot of chronic tension. It actually takes a lot of tension to not straighten a joint, not to take a joint through its full expressive range. Tension holds me bent, holds me, right? Good, so good, you got those triceps contracted, this is great. Now feel for that wrap in the shoulder. This will come on in a whole new way. There you go, we keep the triceps contracted. There you go, that's it. Inhale, step the left foot forward, warrior two. Okay. So now that we can see each other, this is a really common thing. I'll just talk about downward dog for a hot second. If I always have my elbow a little bit bent, like I go into downward dog and it's always a little bit bent. The thing is, I usually accrue a lot of chronic tension in my tricep. Let's take that a little bit further. It means my shoulder's always a little bit rotated. It means that I don't really get full rotation. It usually talks through my low back, so that straightening of the joint's really important. All right, here we are. Warrior two, inhale, reach the arms out. And exhaling, take the right hand to your thigh for reverse warrior. And I'm going to suggest contract this tricep as you lift, as you reach. Go ahead. It's going to be a really strong elbow straightening move. But I can almost guarantee you that will be felt in the shoulder very differently than a bent elbow. And if you've got this contraction in the left elbow, or rather tricep, just like a screwdriver, start to turn the straightened arm this way and that way, like a screwdriver. If you can see me, my hand is just kind of flipping up and flipping down, but I'm doing it with a totally contracted tricep. I'm actually starting to lose my breath a little bit. You can hear that. It's kind of a strong ordeal. I'm going to breathe into the shoulder because I know that tricep and that elbow talks right into the shoulder. Good. Inhale. Let's take that left arm up and over. Pause right here in your warrior two so you can feel and appreciate the two arms, the elbows, the shoulders, the upper back. Kind of cool. You probably even feel that left hand a bit more. All right, eagle. Exhale, hook the left elbow over the right. Left over right. All right. Good. Inhale. Let's unwind, reaching those arms out. And we'll go directly back. Exhaling, hands to ground. Step left foot back. Pause in plank. Pause in plank. Okay. Now, I don't want you to feel anything twingy or weird in the elbows, but find out if you can more fully contract the tricep so you're straightening the elbow. You're contracting all around the elbow, so nothing should feel nervy or jointy or funky. There you go. Now, don't move the hands and pull the shoulders away from the neck. There you go. It's almost like you're closing up the back of your armpits. Oh, good. Take a deep breath into the sides of the rib. And as you exhale, pull the elbows back, pull the shoulders toward the heels, and lower. Those are different elbows. I'm imagining. Cobra. Inhale. Stretch those big toes straight back. Pull the chest forward. Exhaling, lower, downward dog. So again, I'm going to contract the triceps. And heck, while we're at it, let's contract the quads. So the knees, kind of like the elbows, we're contracting those big engines right above the knees, or contracting those big muscle engines right above the elbows. There you go. Oh, good. Deep breath. It sounds easy, but contracting muscles takes a significant amount of energy. Now wrap the shoulders with those contracted triceps. Good. Use those legs. Lift. Pull those hips back away from those shoulders. Keep the triceps engaged. Warrior two. Inhale the right foot forward. Okay. Now, instead of me chatting this time in Warrior two, we're going to go through some hand moves. Inhale, press the palms away. So this is kind of like the ankle twirling of, of the arms. And as you exhale, reach out through the pinky, pull the ring finger out and draw it in, make a fist, and kind of pull the knuckles, almost like you're just making a big wrist circle. Good. Inhale, open up the hands, push palm away from palm. And then as you exhale, reach out through the digits one by one, curl them in, make a fist, and make a big knuckle circle. do one more. Inhale, open the hand, palms press out. Exhale, reach out through each finger independently, curl them into a fist, make big knuckle circles. Keeping those triceps contracted. That might be weird and fun. Reverse warrior. Inhale, go left hand to thigh. Raise the right arm. And now, contract that tricep. Straighten the elbow as we move into reverse warrior. Now with my tricep contracted, I'm going to turn my entire arm like a screwdriver, just rotating it back and forth, and I'm focusing on that tricep. And of course, that whole breath thing, check that out. There you go. Yeah, you found it, you found it, you found it. Sometimes there is a little bit of a wiggle, a wiggly connection between the shoulder and the hip, between the breath and the shoulder. So I'm really trying to explore the deepest ranges of these joints, these muscles. Inhale, bring that right arm up and over, warrior two. Stretch both of your arms out to the side, just so we can have some breath and appreciation for what it is we're feeling in the elbow, the wrists, the shoulder, the ribs. And set the hands down around the right foot. Exhale, step the right foot back. Pause for one additional breath. Inhaling, contracting the triceps, pulling the shoulders away from the neck. Exhaling, pull the shoulders away from the neck as you lower. I suspect 99% of us go into plank with chronically bent elbows. I bet that's a big thing. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, downward dog. Reset the hands. Press back. Straightening the elbows, contracting the triceps. Inhale, step, I believe we started left foot forward. Warrior one. We'll be setting up archer. So if you need a strap, go for it. The left elbow will point up and the right elbow will point down. Since we're on the subject today of these pressure systems, these systems of torsion around the joint that alter our perception, I'm going to turn around so you can see this. Most of us our left hand will be facing our back. Perfect. But you can just get a feel for and appreciate if I turn my palm one way versus the other. This is a really simple place to feel what a totally different pressure system around the tricep and the elbow. So, as long as there's no pain, it's not wrong to, explore. But if I turn my palm and I get a lot more pressure buildup or I feel that tension and that torsion winding up in my tissues. You might find that interesting, and just attempt breathing into those shoulder areas. Release. Allow the arms to simply hang. While they're hanging, gradually reintroduce straightening the elbows through contraction. Okay, I want to do it here while we're free of weight before we add weight to the arms. All right. Inhale, hands to ground. Exhaling, let's step the foot back. Pause in plank. Contract your triceps as long as there's zero pain. Keep those triceps contracted as you pull the shoulders away from the neck. Inhale, push. Exhale, pull the chest toward the ground. Cobra, inhale. Exhale, lower, downward dog. Warrior One, Archer. Inhale, right foot forward. Our right elbow points up. Our left elbow points down. Okay. And again, you can play with that right hand position. You can play with the palm facing the back or the palm facing away from the back. I have a hunch, and I could be wrong on this, but my intuitive hunch is that these pressure systems I'm talking about are fluid, gelatinous, cellular fabric-like matrix, as being able to hold water, hydraulic pressure, like a pressure system, a weather pattern, has a lot of connection to how activated, how responsive our nervous system is. Now, I can be really wrong, but it's just an intuitive hunch based on how we perceive pressure and how we tend to react or move with that. So I'm actually going to choose a hand position that lets me start to feel a little bit more of that pressure system, that winding up. As I wind up my right arm, I'm winding up my left shoulder. I'm drawing the head of the left shoulder back. I'm lifting up through the chest. And when I feel that nice little pressure system starting to wind up, now I'll connect to breath. So I want to just explore today, having that breath feed me present time information, here and now information. What's it like to take my cue to respond to present moment information? Just notice if those pressure systems start to shift. And release. Allow the arms to simply hang down. Okay. Introduce that tricep contraction. So you can straighten the elbows before we put weight on them. And now inhale, place the hands down. And contract those triceps. Exhaling, stepping that right foot back. Triceps contracted, and pull the chest to the earth. Cobra, inhale. Exhaling, lower, downward dog. We'll get into just a couple more things. We'll start by inhaling the left foot forward, warrior two stance for head to ankle prep. So left hand on the thigh, right hand on the ground. Here's a little detail. If I allow my right hand to grab a block, maybe you can see this, I'm actually turning. You can see the crook of my armpit it's able to turn. I can also do it with my hand flat on the ground, but you might just get a little different flavor. So again, it's just kind of that screwdriver motion, and it turns my whole shoulder differently. Okay. Inhale into the low back. And exhaling. And soften right through that hip crease. Okay, and just every so often, I've got my right tricep contracted, and I'm just doing a little bit of rotation, a little swivel. Especially with my really athletic practitioners, sometimes that contract and swivel, it's a little bit like, it's just a different approach to joints than pure traction. So, and I have a sneaking suspicion that, well, I'll turn that one off for now. Okay. All right, now we'll release, push your trunk up just enough to adjust your footing for ostrich. Okay, so let me just backtrack a little bit. Little philosophical underpinnings. Sometimes I really like that compression and like a contraction, a little bit of swiveling, almost like you're trying to just squeeze a dovetail joint together. It's that little bit of tapping it together. Sometimes now when I go for that traction, that release, there's a lot more fluidity. So we're going to try this out. Interlace the hands. Now, if you cannot straighten your elbows from this position, make a tiny loop with your strap. Your hands might be apart, but I want you to have that straightened arm position for this. And then inhaling, I'm gonna reach like I'm opening up my elbows, opening up the wrist, and then exhale, we'll hinge inside the left thigh. Now, as I kind of hang my torso down, create that sense of the arm bones lifting toward the sky. I'm lifting my forearm bones away from the humerus. I'm lifting my hand bones away from my wrist bones. There you go. That's it, Joy. That's it. And again, nothing should feel twangy in the elbows. We're not trying to stress those nerves that run through the arm. Now inhale, bring the hands down to the sacrum. We'll release here. Set the right knee down. twisting pigeon toward the thigh. So once we walk the left foot across the mat, I'm going to set it up as best as I can. So my left thigh kind of runs parallel to the edge of my mat. Okay. Now, if I'm twisting toward the thigh, my first move is I'm just getting my forearms to the ground. A next move is I move my forearms to the left corner of my mat, around my knee somewhere. A next step might be I straighten the right elbow. Again, like I'm just pushing a paperback book across the floor. And here we can breathe from that hip all the way through that shoulder on the right side. And if I've gotten a pretty good pressure system, I can feel that buildup, that accruement of kind of excitatory tension. I'll connect to my breath. So I want to know, I want to explore how my breath and how that tension, what they have to say to each other, how that information gets integrated back into my system, right? Breathing is a lot like a digestive enzyme of experience. Like now my nervous system is kind of digesting this information. It's like, this is okay. And then it starts to pass, it starts to move, it starts to get taken up. And inhale, let's bring the hands back under the shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale the right foot forward. Did we go right into ostrich? Nope, head to ankle prep. There we go. Right hand on right thigh, left hand on the ground. Sometimes with some wrist issues, being able to grab a block actually helps. Sometimes contracting that palm meat around an object stabilizes or just makes that wrist feel much better. You decide. But I'm going to invoke this kind of rotational move in my left arm, contracting the left tricep. Now use hands, press yourself somewhat up, adjust left foot for ostrich. For me, I walk that foot in a little bit. Connect the hands by interlacing them or small loop of strap, straightening the elbows. Hinge for ostrich. Now, Tara, if you were doing those rotational moves with your left arm on the ground, you can enact them a little bit here in the left arm. There you go. And you'll find which way winds. There it is. There's the front of the shoulder. There it is. Yeah, as long as that's not painful, that's winding up that whole area around the pec and the AC. So we can rotate these arm bones in this reaching back position. And now I lift the arm bones away from the collarbones. And I lift the forearm bones away from the humerus, the upper arm bone. I lift the hand and wrist bones away from the forearm bones. And again, nothing twangy or nervy should be occurring. If something is twangy or nervy, we need to put a strap in there or grab the hands differently. And inhaling, let's bring the hands down, releasing for pigeon. Place the left knee down. Walk the right leg down. Align the right thigh bone with the edge of your mat as best as possible. And I start just by moving forearms to ground. Then moving forearms over, around the right knee. Then straightening that left arm using the tricep. I always find it a wonderful surprise when I realize again and again how the tension in my arm actually has something to do with the tension in my back. So I hope you're having some fun with it. I'm just letting myself digest the experience. I'm choosing my response here. I'm putting the experience of tension online, and now I'm choosing what to do with that. Right? I'm breathing, and I'm choosing my response. When we start to get that chronic tension, it's a response, but it might not be chosen at that moment. But we get to choose in this moment, all right, how will I respond here? Do I respond by breathing? Do I respond with that gesture of release or opening? And inhale, let's walk the hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. Last pose, last little bit. Inhale let's go left foot forward. I'm grabbing a block. This is revolved pyramid. So with this revolved pyramid, the pyramid is a straight-legged stance. And we'll be reaching the arms out strongly, but we'll be rotating our chest to the left. So I'm going to go right hand down. The altitude I choose for my right hand is determined by the straightness of my legs. So I'm going to engage those quadriceps right now. Place my right palm down as close to ground. And then draw the left arm up, contracting the triceps. And now push with the right hand, reach with the left hand. Press through the ball of the left foot, pull the right heel toward the earth. There you go, pull with that right heel, Joy. It's almost like that right heel is pulling you back, pulling your, yeah, yep. It'll help pull the hips back. There you go. Now lift those left forearm bones up. So lifting, opening that elbow, lifting, opening up that AC joint, lifting, opening up the chest. Now connect to breath. How shall I respond to this information in this moment? There's pressures, there's tensions, there's torsions. How will I respond to this information in this moment? You know, it's so cool because in so many of our less than conscious reactions in life, our experiences in life include pressure, they include torsion, they include compression, they include contraction. How we're choosing them, we're enacting them, and we're playing with, all right, now what do I do? How do I be here in this? How do I get curious in here? Good, inhale, let's bend that left knee, set the hands down. Exhale, step back, downward dog, and we'll make an easy pass to the other side. Inhale, right foot forward. Revolve pyramid, final side. Engage the quads. Engage the triceps. Inhaling, the right arm up. And inhale, let's bring that right hand down, bend the right knee. Exhaling, step back, downward dog. Wrapping the shoulders. And let's set the knees down, have a seat. So, we began in Baddha Konasana. Let's check back in with Baddha Konasana. That's soles of feet together. Go there. Let me make one adjust. And at the very beginning, we were playing with, there we go, and unlocking the hip move, or feeling our breath in the pelvis. Let's just check that out. Again, explore how your breath accesses the bottom half of your body and the top half of your body. And feel if the thigh bones can relax down as the spine grows taller. I actually press through my sit bones to feel that slight altitude shift. I'm letting the bottom jaw relax toward the pelvis. And feel how that breath inhabits the left half of your body, the right half of your body. The front half of your body, the back half of your body. Or just noticing any changes, and we can compare to the beginning of our practice. All right. When you help your legs together, let's lie back for Shavasana. So please, find a restful position. And staying connected with our breath, our precious, life-giving breath. Let all this new information, these relations, throughout our body, allow it to be taken up. So we're just marinating in all of these shifts and openings and weather pattern changes. Just marinating. Feeling how those subtle inner tides, those fluidic tides, there's new current patterns often. I consider that a lot of our tangible bodily structure is both fluid and fabric. So there's this continual interplay between the fluid and the fabric. It's a very alive network. These primordial echoes of a deep, vast oceanic mystery. May we find the courage and capacity to let go and take our cues from present moment. When you're ready, bend knees. Turn to a side. And press. You can always remain in Shavasana as long as you like. It's pretty sweet in there. Namaste.